All right, so the next product in the polishing package would be a polish, right? You would think the polishing package would have a polish. And this is where it gets tricky, and there were so many polishes available, right? So many different options. And this is one of the things that I find, I probably get 5 or 6 emails a week, at least 1 a day, if not 2 a day, of people saying, well, what should I do? You know, what polish should I buy? And then I go out and I start adding links and sending them links to the products that I use. And so the simpler thing to do would be to just say, hey, go to the store. It has everything that I use specifically. And this would be my most used polish by far. I started using this after I was using it a little bit prior to going to the Esoteric Detailing Academy. But I was sort of between this and Menzerna at the time was called SF4000. I think it's called 3800 now. Actually, 3500 would be equivalent to the SF4000 from Menzerna. I was doing that for finishing and doing a lot of 2-steps where I was doing a compound and then finishing, where they didn't really need the full compounding capability of the compound in most instances on most of my cars, but the SF4000 couldn't get out what I needed to get out in a single step, and so that's where Perfect Finish started to become more useful in my arsenal, because a lot of times I'll go 8, 9, maybe even 12, 13, 14 months before I reapply my last step, and so I might start get toweling marks and things like that. And so this polish as a single step for us OG types that really care for our cars, this stuff works really well. So combination of Sonax Perfect Finish and a yellow pad, which I again call this the Todd Cooper Rider method. They use this very often at Esoteric. This combination is a fantastic single step. And the reason for that is this is as a lot of newer polishes, this is a diminishing polish. You'll find that a lot of old school detailers that have lots and lots and tens of thousands of hours under a machine with lots of trial and error will generally prefer a non-diminishing polish, a polish that you put on the paint, you keep working it, and it doesn't break down. This is a diminishing polish where it starts as a 4 and ends as a 6, we'll call it, right? So it starts cutting, and the more passes you make, the more the little particles, the little pieces of rock turn into pieces of little pebbles, and then the little pebbles turn into sand, as my friend Ammo NYC Larry Cosilla talks about. You take the rocks and you diminish them down to little particles. So in this case, you take a tiny microscopic piece of sand and you turn it into smaller pieces of sand by the end of it, and so you get a better finish or a finished result at the end of the product use. And that's what a diminishing polish will do for us, right? In my experience, diminishing polishes are a little more forgiving for us goofs who don't know what we're doing, right? For us that are just kind of out in their garage really enjoying the process, I found that using something like this in most instances in my experience gets a better result even if you do know what you're doing. So my preference is for Perfect Finish. There's a lot of arguments of whether this fills or not. I think the general consensus is that every polish fills, right? Every polish has some filling capability to it. And what I've found is that this removes pretty much everything. There's nothing left to fill, so it really doesn't matter. Because one of the issues with filling is that I polish, it fills in the scratches, I get my light out, I look, and everything looks great, and then when the filler washes away over time, then I'm left with a scratch again. Well, I find that this stuff, in most cases, a combination of this and my Jescar Correction Compound that I use so often, there really aren't many scratches left to fill, so it doesn't matter if it does fills or not. So again, I know that's a common thing that people like to talk about, but I haven't had an issue. So Sonax Perfect Finish has what they call a cut on a scale of 1 to 6, has cutting capability of a 4, with 1 being the most cut and 6 being the least. I think I have that right. So it's a 4 on the scale of 1 to 6, and then actually I take that back. Yeah, I think 1 is the least cut, 6 is the most cut. So I said that wrong in my polishing video. And then we have, from a scale of 1 to 6, we have 1 as the least amount of gloss, 6 as the most amount of gloss. And so this product will cut reasonably well, finish down really nicely. Finish down is a jargon term, but it gives you lots of shine, if you will, or gloss. And so that's Sonax Perfect Finish. I have it in liter size, and also if you just want to test it out, or if you don't do a lot of polishing, a 250 ml size, so you can buy it in either section. Stuff is expensive, it's 70 bucks a bottle as of today, March 21st, 2018. This is 25 bucks for a small bottle. This is expensive. This will last you a long time. I would suggest a liter, and this is actually a pretty manageable bottle to work with, and you can even take it and put it in some smaller bottles if you wanted to. But if you wanted to just try it out, you can also buy the smaller, $25 bottle of Perfect Finish. So both available in the store. If you have to have one polish, this would be the one I'd buy. Because what happens when the force pulls you back, your foot naturally comes off the gas. You have to keep your foot to the floor, foot to the floor.